And she's Nicole Vindel. So here you are. Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? I'm really glad to be here with you.
Same here.
Yeah, great. Here you are. Okay, so the stage is yours, Nicole.
Okay, so today I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for allowing me to share some words. I'm going to explain you a bit about what I do, and I'm going to show you a real life safari on my studio. So first of all, I'm going to share with you some of the projects that I do for those that doesn't know my work. This is one of them that was done in Israel, where we were working with a photographer called Olga de Iglesia and an amazing team with Agar Eres and Gaston Lizac. And we were exploring the identity of people, how we dress, and this is a way to show how we are, but also how we eat and show a way of how we eat. And we're using different breads, different models, people from different, different origins and backgrounds. And that was one of the projects. Then some other projects that you can see here is Who Am I? That is an action that we do with Antonio Miralda and Food Cultura and Random Happiness, that basically people, it's going out of their physical person and then becoming an object. And there's another kind of action, some other projects like this one that talks about post-human growth. And it's interesting because in this one, it's a live sculpture that grows over things that are made by humans, and it merges our understanding of the environment, but also the environment itself, and makes a reflection about how to live in synergy with these ecosystems, right? And also some more playful things like Playful Naughty, that this is opening a debate or a reflection of what happens if we establish a dialogue with our foods, and our foods can tell us how they want to be eaten. For example, this is Naughty with laser cut, that it's telling you exactly how it wants to be eaten, and in this case it's play with me, but other ones is squeeze me, other ones are playing with sensuality and things like this. And then this other project related to the first one, talking about bread as a basic food in a culture that merges, as could be the cultures that happens in the Middle East, but that can also happen here in Barcelona, for example, right? And how can we explore this through food? And another project that I'm gonna show you now in the workshop is the project of Awake. That actually, maybe you have seen these pictures around popcorn. And I'm playing with popcorn and the symbolism behind it. Actually, this happened during the first lockdown, where I become a bit obsessed, I have to confess, with popcorn. And then I was reproducing this shape as a symbol of transformation. I'm gonna share with you my screen just 1 second to show you some of these images that you would have probably seen. These were all sorts of sculptures that if you get still, they keep on surrounding us and building up over you. And actually this was the first moment when I was reflecting about the collective power versus the individual power. And thanks to this and many other things going on, projects as Food Design Nation grow. So I'm gonna show you my workshop that it's here. Basically, this is like a space where I can collaborate, like I can explore different narratives, and sometimes it's super messy. Today, I tried to tidy it a bit, so it's not as messy. But these are some, for example, the ways that I was reproducing. Yes?
Nicole, maybe you could stop sharing screen if you're showing us your studio so that we can see it better.
Yes.
Great, super,
So,
thank you.
I'm gonna put this in full screen. Okay, so this is my studio. And here, for example, you can see how I was doing popcorn in the moments of lockdown. People really think that this is real popcorn, but it's not. So sometimes some people have put it into their mouths and it's something a bit dangerous. But it's nice because each popcorn is reproduced with a mold made by Make It. And actually this mold actually can capture all the details of popcorn.
Oh, wow. And what are they done for?
What? Sorry?
What is the material? What are they done for?
So it's an acrylic that later I paint with this kind of paints, and each of them has a different shape, and it's an acrylic, but the paint is a special paint that allows me to play with details, you know, and you can see how they get at the end. And in this moment, I was like really focused on reproducing and classifying the different typologies of popcorn, and you can see that the shapes itself are really interesting, but the most interesting is the narrative that one popcorn means nothing, you know, like, whoops, you can have one popcorn, you know, and means nothing. But when you have a lot of popcorn, this means something. And this happens also with humanity, right? Like we are an individual that we cannot change the world, but when we're together, we have this possibility. So these were some of the narratives. Then other projects that I want to show with you. So I go back to sharing my screen, okay? Is a project of Sweet Demise, a narrative I started last year that basically talks about how sugar, this is crystallized sugar, and how sugar it's everywhere in our system, food system. And sometimes it feels that all the crystals are so sweet and so nice, and we can see them and say, wow, this is something very attractive. I want more, it's quite addictive, you know, and visually it's really interesting. But then when you do one step further, you realize that the truth of sugar is dangerous. And sometimes we tend to think that it's something that it's our own responsibility, but instead of being our own responsibility, I think that it's a system that has been created to make us choose how we choose. So sometimes the human condition is telling us what we need to eat, you know, and how we need to eat. So here I'm gonna show with you some of the last pieces. So these are the pieces, the real life pieces. Let me show you here.
Wow. Can you stop sharing the screen so that we can see the real pieces? Super.
Yes. Again, yes.
Yeah, super. It's fine. Wow, they are amazing.
The real pieces.
And that's sugar, Nicole?
Yeah, that's sugar.
Wow, that's sugar in the robe? Wow.
Yes, and you can see the details, and actually, according to how the light is, you can see, you know, like huge crystals. I was amazed on how crystals, and it's really something about time, like also as our food habits, right? Something that it's not just one shot, it's something that you keep on doing and doing once and again. And here I'm gonna show you how I'm doing the next ones that are these ones. So this is basically I'm exploring now with kitchen fabrics. I feel that it's an amazing material and objects, you know, to play with, because we all have these kitchen fabrics with this kind of, you know, ugly and dirty fabrics, and how this can also be crystallized and capture the movement of something as fluent as this. So now we are exploring with this in the next piece soon. Let's see if we have an exhibition with this and we can open it to the public, but now it's a work in progress. And then I'm gonna tell you about also another, okay, let me see, where is my screen? So these are several narratives. By the way, if someone has questions, I don't know if it's possible to ask questions here.
No, it's not possible because we have 15 minutes every person, but if you want people to ask questions, they will send them later to us because there's a lot of people watching. But however, I think that I mean, you opened up another kind of approach to the food design world, because we come from the agriculture and the product and the nature. And you come into the expressive and reflexive world, like to make people think through food design, which is very interesting. So maybe you could explain a little bit or detail a little bit these processes that you do, like you were showing us the pieces.
Yeah, so in terms of processes, what I think is that my work is based on reflection that I call critical hope. This is a perspective on how to see a lens through what we can see things. So we're in a sensitive moment where just trying to have less impact in the world is not enough. And as designers or creatives that we are, Mariana, we can feel the freedom of creating whatever we want, and this is really powerful because we are behind it and there's no limits, and there's every time less limits, which is amazing. But also we have a big responsibility because whatever we create, even if it's a product or a service or a system or maybe it's a behavior, something bigger and huge, it's gonna be used, and we need to understand all the implications of what it means or all the impacts that can happen. And I'm not just talking about the environmental impact, something that I'm sure that everyone is super concerned, and every time we are more concerned, but also the social impact. Why are we creating this? Is there a need, to create something that already exists and reproduce it once more? Also, we need to be a bit critical on where we invest our time, because it's quite limited. And if we're going to do and invest time and efforts, I defend that needs to be for a good reason, for something that really worth it. So in that sense, that relates to something that I apply to my work, but to my life, that it's as I call it, it's the worthitarian thinking, like asking before doing anything, asking myself, does it worth, is it worth it? And then sometimes it's exciting, but it doesn't worth because it's not needed. And sometimes it's exciting and also it's needed, so it's fantastic and we can move over. But this is a way of thinking in a critical thinking, but also with hope, because I think that there's a lot of possibilities that can help us to make this change, and that's why we're here, I think.
Great, great. I want to congratulate you, to give my congratulations, because many times we see a lot of food design projects, but the images that you do are very nice, and also to see things that are beauty and that can communicate through the beauty of the things is amazing. So it's really nice that you showed us all those amazing pictures through which we can understand what you do.
Yeah, so, and according to this, how more minutes do I have?
Yeah, 5.
5 more?
We
okay.
Still have time, yes.
So I think that related to what you were saying,
4, exactly.
4 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna be super fast, don't worry.
Don't worry.
So relating it with what you were saying, I think that there's 2 types of beauty, and one is the formal beauty, some things that Umberto Eco have developed, have explored further. And it's interesting because it's needed in a moment where we live, where there's a lot of information and all the information is competing one to each other. So in this infoxication, only beauty will stand up. And I think we need to generate this emotional link through this formal beauty, but also this beauty is empty if it's not accompanied with, is not coming together with intellectual beauty. That actually this is something that Maria Caso defends, and it's really interesting, and I really feel it because all my work is based on this intellectual beauty that has a purpose behind, and to me this is something really important, and that can link us to the next project. I'm gonna go back to share screen. That actually is the last one. It's called Privilege of Fake Abundance. That's going to be my next exhibition, and it's an exploration on tableware. So one day I was opening the tap of my sink. I was washing the dishes, and then I realized how we use those those tableware and those or those resources as water as something that it's infinite when it's not, so this understanding, it's wrong, but it's systemic, and it's a system that makes it be like this. So according to this, what I have been exploring is like now playing with a lot of plates. You will see that my studio, like it's a bit messy now because all these plates are an exploration of how we can identify the way we eat and tell according to the plates that we can use. We're gonna understand if we're one kind in a culture or in another, you know, and we're using them in one way or another. There's some typical things that we can understand or we can feel identified with, as here, for example, people use porro to drink wine, you know, and this is something very typical. But then we have this kind of super cute and amazing detailed handmade plates that are Asian. And actually now I'm very close to Asian culture because I'm designing a restaurant that it's Chinese. So I'm appreciating all these details, and another project I will tell you. But after all this exploration, I'm gonna do like this is something anyone have seen yet, because I haven't published it yet. But I'm creating these kind of sculptures where I bring this moment of reflection that happened to be in the sink of my kitchen to something that it's that we can see and we can all live or reflect in through water as a privilege of a fake abundance and what we consider it to be abundance or not nowadays. And this is one piece that actually you're gonna be the first one seeing it. Are you ready? And the piece works like this. It's not finished, it's just a teaser, but water flows, you know, and it's interesting how all the plates can get filled with this water, and all the water is flowing and is running from one place as if it would be eternal and glorious and abundant, as all fountains are. So this is one of the occasions, and yeah, it works like this.
Wow, super amazing.
A bit more details of how it is. And
okay,
this is the piece. And
great.
just to wrap up, that's, you know, like the space itself. That's the space. And yeah, I invite you to join the exhibition that it's gonna be on the 28th. Actually, I think it's sold out, but maybe we can do something if someone really wants to come, that it's gonna be in La Muriel for the Barcelona Design Week.
Great. Thank you very much, Nicole, for such an amazing presentation of your work. And I'm sure that people will be interested in watching and in going to see the exhibit or looking for your job on the net. So thank you very much for your participation. It was great to have you here. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.